Hi everyone, good afternoon and happy Friday. Welcome to episode 9 of Out in the Open with Open Arms. We want to do a quick recap of what we did last month. I had Maxime here with me. He's our French intended parents coordinator. It was a lot of fun. We've talked about, he works with our French intended parents, and we've talked about the process, the laws, how is it different for intended parents coming from France and versus ones that are already here. And we got to speak a little bit French, and it was a lot of fun.
I saw that. It was good.
It was really cool. So we've noticed that since we started this 9 episodes ago, our focus was always about, surrogate mothers, surrogacy, the process and whatnot. So we decided to do a little shift and, kind of talk about egg donation this time. We are going to be sitting with Dani.
Hi.
She is our egg donor intake coordinator, and you are going to get to know a little bit about what she does, how she does it, how she gets to work with our divas. That's what we call them. We love them, our egg donors, and just give you an idea about what that process is like. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Are you excited?
I am.
Cool. All right, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to Open Arms.
Absolutely.
How did that happen?
So my name is Dani, and
that's plenty. That's all you need to know. Moving on to the next question. Just kidding. I love to torture her.
Yes, you do. Really, some things about me is I've been born and raised here in Sarasota. I absolutely love it in this area. I love the outdoors and being with friends. And really kind of what motivated me to want to make a career change is I really love the passion of working with others. And the aspect of this job, it just coincide with exactly more about my values and my views about wanting to give back and make a positive influence in others' lives.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm glad to hear that. So tell me, how much did you know prior to our first interview about the world of egg donation? I love that first question when I interview for, a spot in Open Arms. The first question is, how much do you know about about egg donation, surrogacy, that whole world?
Honestly, not much.
Not
no.
Amy at all. Huh?
Well, I actually have friends going through the IVF process currently, so I have a little understanding with that. And then I actually have another individual who's going through the surrogacy program. So I have some understanding, but the lack of knowledge that I had with egg donation, no. Yeah. Very minimal.
Yeah. So it was a whole new world to you, kind of diving into working with donors and
Completely.
The process of.
Yeah, it was very new, but very exciting.
Yeah. So what was if you have to share with us, like something that was an eye-opening moment in your process with the donor department, what would that be? Oh boy, we did the whole, we're going to dive in.
Yeah.
What was it?
See, honestly, I think it would actually be my diving in actually firsthand, being unexperienced within this role. It was actually being able to be jumping into the cycle with new donors and being able to be that guidance for them, to actually witness and be that support for them, seeing hands-on exactly their commitment as well as their reasoning why they wanted to be able to do this. It was really exciting.
Like hearing the reasons every donor wants to become an egg donor was always like, and every answer is like a different.
Completely. And
it's almost like that's interesting. That's cool that you want to do it because of that reason.
Exactly. Everybody has their own story, and it's really exciting. So it's been very fun, and I've been able to create new memories with that.
That's cool. I remember when my God, that's cool kind of moment when I asked when I asked the donor why she wants to donate, why she wants to be an egg donor, and she said that her mom had her, and then she could not conceive anymore. So her little brother, was conceived through egg donation. So she has a brother who was conceived through this, process, which made her very thankful to donors who are able to do that. And that's what motivated her to be an egg donor herself. How cool is that?
I love stories like that, and I love hearing that. I mean, everybody has their own story, so it's awesome to be able just to listen and not only be a support, but also just be able to share that new experience with them.
Yeah. So you have a partner in crime.
Oh, yes, I do. Her name is Rachel.
So Rachel, and we will have her as a guest next time, so you get to know what she does and how she does it. These two, Rachel and she, are a good problem to have. But I love your energy together. And Rachel is a cycle care coordinator. So do you want to give an idea a little bit about when your job starts and when it ends and when hers starts, kind of thing?
Absolutely.
How you guys work together?
Yeah, we actually work together really well. So what my role is as an egg donor intake coordinator, the ultimate goal is to really find qualified candidates and help them to be applicants within our database.
Right.
I want to get them active, and from there, the potential intended parents are able to then access our database and really kind of see for themselves exactly the the qualified candidates. You know, so from there, they're able to pinpoint exactly the characteristics they are ultimately seeking, and they coordinate and speak with the intended parent coordinator.
Right.
And then from there, the intended parent coordinator and we correspond, and they tell me exactly the matches that they have ultimately made, or with a selection of 3 to 4 possibly of donors.
Right.
From there, I go ahead and I contact those potential egg donors, and I find out their availability.
Okay.
I go ahead and inquire about their blackout dates, which I mean by blackout dates, like days that they know they're not going to be available.
Okay.
Yeah, like a 6-month time frame.
Okay.
So on top of that, I ask because within their application, the other question I always ask is where they currently live, because everybody moves, it seems like.
That is so true. By the time they fill up an application, she may be in Florida. By the time she is matched, she's now in
Colorado.
Okay.
I get this.
Yeah, so you have to, absolutely.
Yeah, and the other question I ask is the compensation. So I go ahead and then get that information from the potential egg donor, and then I go ahead and deliver that back to the
intended parents coordinator. Okay.
From there, once the intended parents have made their official match,
right,
I get the honor of being able to contact then the newly elected egg donor and give her that good news
that she has been selected to
officially match
with a couple, and that's when you do the handoff to.
Well, technically, I go ahead and I send off the documents first.
Okay,
I go ahead and
for the pre-approval.
Yes, the pre-approval,
Okay.
And then on top of that, I go ahead and I set up the drug screen.
Okay.
And then the other aspect that I go ahead and do is I initiate the Zoom session with Rachel, because ultimately...
Oh, that's when you do the introduction to Rachel?
Yeah, because
so
ultimately Rachel is now I'm going to go ahead and hand her off, the egg donor, to Rachel.
Right.
Okay. And ultimately that's when kind of the handoff is kind of happen, but they never actually lose that support from me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. So basically, you process the application, you make sure the donor qualifies, and then once you work with the intended parents coordinators on selecting the right donor for them, once that donor is selected, you do part of the process in the beginning, and then you hand her over to Rachel, who's going to manage the rest of the cycle, from scheduling the appointments through the egg retrieval and whatnot.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. I like the idea of them continuing to have access to you.
Oh,
because it starts with you.
Absolutely.
It starts with you. You do the application. They're excited about the process. You tell them what to expect, and the celebration is you are matched. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I hear, because me and Rachel share an office, and one thing I love is if she's on the phone with a particular donor, I'm like, make sure you say hi for me.
I like that. So we talked about processing the applications. Qualified candidate was the word. So what are the requirements that disqualify someone from becoming an egg donor?
So you have to be between the age of 21 to 32.
I don't qualify.
Neither do I.
33.
And I'm 21. So anyway, you have to have a BMI of 28 or less, not been adopted,
Okay.
no history of depression,
Okay.
and then also
No smoking, no drug use.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the usual. Okay. You know what would be very important is to talk about the no adoption part. You can't be adopted.
Okay.
So do you know why?
I do know why.
Oh, impress me.
Well, it's really
That's not it. So go ahead. You can't leave. You can't leave.
All right. Well, I think they want to hear me.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's really important that you're not adopted because the primary reason is the intended parents really want to ultimately know where your origins, where you came from, because it's really important.
Yes.
I mean, it's great that even if you were adopted, that's wonderful if you have, actual
access,
parents, parents that are great, but it's really important that you actually know where you came from.
Right. Absolutely. Because you are using this person's genetics, it's very important to know the history of the parents and the grandparents and any siblings that you might have. So it's really hard sometimes when you have a great egg donor who is going to make an amazing egg donor, but you can't accept her into the program because she was adopted. It's really nothing personal at all. I mean, we celebrate all of our egg donor and we love them for wanting to give of themselves to do this. But unfortunately, without that background data, we can't really move forward. So,
and the other thing that I've experienced, that the unfortunate aspect that I sometimes have to go ahead and just give the news to is based on their BMI sometimes. And you know what? It's not a bad thing though, because at the same time that what I tell them is go ahead, and I love the fact that you have
the desire
you really kind of wanted to make this stuff. So what has ultimately kind of motivated them was to then want to go ahead and get in shape. So they come back.
And this is also something that's that's something that we do for their own health and their own well-being.
Exactly.
We wouldn't want to, jeopardize that in any way. So we have a question that came up. What if it is, what is it?
Kinship adoption.
Adoption. Oh, that's so. What if it's an adoption within the family? That should be fine because you have. The idea is have access to your history. So as long as you can, what we're trying to avoid is I was adopted. I know nothing about my background, my parents, my grandparents. I don't know what my ethnicity is. I don't have access to medical history, things that might run in the family. That's what we are missing when someone is adopted. But if it happened within the family, it's an open adoption. You know who they are. You can still have access to that information. Absolutely. Awesome question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good question. So we've managed before to talk about the surrogacy process and the support system that is super important for a surrogate to go through the process. What would you say is important for, or let's say, what advice would you have for an egg donor before going through this process? What should she know if she's thinking about egg donation, from the initial requirement we talked about to the emotional support?
Oh, understand. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is for them, I love the reasoning why. And ultimately, it's great if you guys want to apply and you feel like that passion. Yeah. But I think the ultimate thing is it's really understanding that this is a commitment, though. Yeah. That's huge. I mean, the thing about it is, one thing I always tell these egg donors is you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for somebody else.
Right.
And I mean, because everybody has their why, and I think it's really important that they have that understanding about time management, because they have to, like a lot of these egg donors that I experience, they work, they have kids of their own maybe, they want to go out with their friends, so it's like,
have a drink.
Oh yeah, I mean,
right?
Yeah, so they have to make it's not necessarily, I don't want to say the word sacrifice, but they have to make changes to make this happen.
Yeah, it's a commitment.
It's a commitment for sure.
It's a commitment.
Because 100%, the ultimate goal is what they want to get out of return is, they want to change somebody else's life.
For sure.
And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say when you are an egg donor, like you were saying, you're busy, school, work, family, you might have children of your own already. So you need to understand that this process can be very demanding. You have appointments to go to. They can't be formed around your schedule. When they say we have to go, we have to be there. We have to monitor your levels properly. You have to go to appointment first thing in the morning so we have the results back in the afternoon so we can give you the next instructions. We can't say, you needed to be going tomorrow, but you really can't go until Monday. So that's where the time management has to happen. You have to, when you ask about blackout dates, this is why.
Exactly.
You have to be flexible. You have to be available. And aside from that, you also have to have a good awareness of, I would say maybe the medication, the medication can be a little bit.
I think it's like it goes hand in hand. They have to have an understanding. I think that you're right. They have to have an understanding that it's not going to always be the most pleasant experience because
it's going to be pleasant on this end. The process itself.
Yeah, because they get to work with me and Rachel. Of course.
You make it pleasant.
Of course.
If only you can give them the shots. You draw the line there.
I don't. Yeah.
You draw the line.
Yeah.
So injections are involved in the process. So, you have to take medication. You have to be taking injections. You have to go to these appointments. You have to store your medication properly.
You have
to keep track of your meds because it's nothing that you can. It has to be coming from a specialty pharmacy and whatnot. So it's a commitment. You have to be organized. You have to be available. You have to be flexible.
Flexible is huge.
Flexible.
Yeah, because
and you have to keep an open communication as well with
100%. Yeah. I mean, the openness to be able to do this, I think, is very amazing. But that flexibility word was huge because the unfortunate aspect is a lot of times, like when you talk about the medication aspect, the reasoning behind them going to the local monitoring appointments is because ultimately it's really important for the doctors to know exactly where their levels are at. And a lot of times these doctors' appointments are based on their calendar, okay? Yeah. And that calendar sometimes it's something like a good reference, but it's not always something that we always go by.
Yeah.
So it's really important to be flexible because occasionally the doctors will be like, I need her to go in the following day, and it wasn't on the calendar. So you just need to be open and aware of that.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. And I love it when we have obviously returning egg donors that speaks for itself when someone does it, enjoys the experience, enjoys the giving, and then comes back and want to do it again.
I love our experienced donors.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's amazing because I've already built that connection, and then being able to experience another cycle with them, I just know it's not only a rewarding experience for myself, but they're also giving back to new intended parents or even a sibling cycle. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I love that you and Rachel are in that age group. I think it was very important to me that the departments can relate to our egg donors. So it has to be like more on, the younger side.
I thought you
joking, not the younger. So you can actually connect and you can understand. You can empathize when they're busy, when things are happening. When,
understandable.
And hence, you might call, you might email, you might text, because sometimes you text a lot to your donors, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm very understanding of the fact that, the majority of our egg donors, they work. They have outside obligations. So I know a lot of times, especially like if I need to take an important phone call, a lot of times I can't necessarily be able to do that. But if I have a text saying, I need you to call me, it's something that I know is pressing and I need to go ahead and address that.
Right. Do you by any chance discuss with our egg donors, we've talked about this before, the ability to either become an anonymous egg donor, a known egg donor, semi-known egg donor, and those options now, when before it used to be 100% anonymous, now it's more flexible. Is that something that you talk to the donors at all about, like before, or is it before it goes to Rachel, or?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. That's a lot of times when I go ahead and the intended parent coordinators communicate with me about the potential matches that the intended parents have kind of seen within our database. One of the other questions I do ask the potential egg donors is if they would mind being known or anonymous. So from there, I explain the difference. And being known is a lot of times based on a known donation. It's a lot of times just based on legal documentation. Their names are on the documents.
Do they meet the parents sometimes?
Sometimes it does happen. Sometimes it does happen. Like I just actually recently encountered where I had intended parents and the egg donor. They requested to do a Skype meeting. And it was really fun because I got to be able to share that experience with them.
Yeah. Do you see more of a trend one way or another, more donors wanting to be anonymous versus known, or?
To be honest, the majority that I've witnessed is actually known. Just
really?
because
They like to be known.
Yeah, they actually a lot of times they're like
that's an interesting shift.
Yeah, and they honestly want to know a lot of times the outcome also. So it's like of what actually happens after the retrieval,
whether we have a pregnancy or not, and that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's a really great thing because I love the fact that they're just so open because they're excited and they just really want to be able to have that official match.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So I guess the last question I have for you would be, what would you say the most rewarding thing the job offers you besides a cool boss? This is where I Go ahead.
Okay. So besides that, I guess, I would say, honestly, it's being able to connect and build a relationship with these amazing egg donors. Also, being able to hear the after story, which I love to hear the after stories. And then the other thing, too, I love coming to work every day because of the individuals I work with. My team members are amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
So it's a combination.
So it's back to me, teammate. Awesome team.
Well, most people I like.
Yeah. You have it on record. Did we miss anything?
Nope.
Anything I think we covered a lot of ground. This was very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this was really exciting.
I love how you shine in your department, though. I love, like, when you get an egg donor, you have that personality and that desire to kind of answer all the questions, make her really excited. I hear you on the phone. Really, like, you shine. You're like, yes, you want to be an egg donor? Let me help you. I want to make sure that you have the most pleasant experience possible, and I love that. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, I really do try to make a lasting impression. And I know, like, for instance,
you raised the bar really high for Rachel. It's like, Rachel, I'm right here. You need to, like,
it's always about setting the standards.
Right.
Yeah. And the one thing too, like in my bio, it stated how I really like to create new memories with genuine people.
Yeah.
And honestly, it goes hand in hand with this role.
Yes.
Because I really do feel that I meet so many genuine individuals. I may not meet them face to face, but I'm able to have that connection with them and be able to create new memories. So it's very, very fulfilling.
Okay, well, there must be something challenging. I know I forgot this question, but what would you say the most if there is anything, what's the most challenging either in your position or in the egg donor process, or maybe both? What would you find it?
So honestly, you're probably talking about the obstacles and bumps that happen during the cycle itself.
Such as?
So a lot of times it could be, for instance, with the medical retrieval. A lot of times after the medical retrieval aspect, one thing that we kind of wait on is the genetic testing results. And sometimes with the genetic testing, when they have their medical retrieval,
you mean the medical evaluation?
Yes.
Medical evaluation.
The medical evaluation. What it essentially happens is they go ahead and do genetic testing.
Right.
And then from there, some donors then get back letting them know that they have a mutation.
They're a carrier of some sort.
Yeah. And then, so that's sometimes some hiccups.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is some donors find out that they have a mutation that's not so alarming,
Yeah.
but others find out it's a mutation that is
that
something.
may disqualify them from the process.
Exactly. And
then you have like, here you are saying, oh, you're carrier of this, and you also disqualify. It's like, oh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but I would say it's incredible that, when you're going, I would say that as a plus, at least you're going through this process, you find out something that you wouldn't have known otherwise. I mean, I have not had, a full genetic screening done.
I completely agree.
So it makes you think, oh, okay, well, at least now I know.
Understand. And then I guess another thing sometimes too, just that's one of the reasons why I ask for blackout dates, just because, this process can be it could be prolonged, just because of certain things like that. The genetic.
It's like the hurry up and wait. We always say that. Hurry up, let's get you a match, and then we have to wait. You do screening, and then we have to wait. You do legal contract, we have to wait.
Exactly. That's the other thing. That's why I asked them.
Yeah, donors will think, I want to become an egg donor. I filled up an application. This is going to be done in 3 weeks.
It doesn't just happen like that.
It's a process.
It really is. That's because the other aspect sometimes that's a hiccup is the legal process.
Yeah.
Depending on where the intended parents live, it also kind of is a factor when they go ahead and reach out and communicate with their attorneys and vice versa.
Right. We do a lot of international clients, and sometimes the time difference. And
exactly.
Whatnot.
It's just about sometimes just getting things finalized.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that we covered a lot of ground. They love it. We have to finish on a positive note. What would it be? If maybe your message to your egg donors, to future donors, to current divas, what would you?
I think my message is continuing to be yourself, because the egg donors that we currently have are absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And I think that with that being said, as long as they keep spreading that positivity, I think that just with us being who we are, we're just going to grow, and it's going to be that much more amazing.
Yes, we are so excited to share more of us with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dani. Thank you. You're awesome.
You're not too bad.
I can't move the chair. Well, that will do it. I think we covered a lot of ground. We answered a lot of questions. You let us know your thoughts. Send us your questions. If you need us to invite Dani back, it's awesome. We can do that. If not, we can move into Rachel, who can talk about the next part of the process. Once Dani matches them with an intended parents, what happened once they go to Rachel. That's going to be April 26th. Until then, be sure to check our website, openarmssurrogacy.com. Tons of information, learn a little bit about us, join our team. Would love to have you. Thank you again for...
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. See you soon.